so terrifying. I would be shocked if you aren't still thinking of them tonight. Number 5. Lalo Escalante is a Mexican paranormal investigator, relatively new to YouTube. Escalante started his channel in October 2019. At the beginning of December 2020, Lalo and his team investigated an abandoned house in Culiacan, Mexico. Right at the beginning of this video, a couple of orbs can be spotted as the camera is showing the exterior. While they could be dismissed as dust particles, other such specks can be seen all around. The orbs in question stand out and do not resemble the other dust specks seen. Furthermore, there's no distinguishing features you would see on an insect such as wings from this common and tame example of paranormal phenomenon. On their way inside, they discover some evidence the place is used by vagrants, trash all over and discarded clothing. This does lead to the possibility of whatever they saw and heard could be an actual person rather than paranormal. But this doesn't...
People can be unpredictable, and it's possible whoever may be residing there could want to protect something they have stored there. The trio soon ascends to the top floor, where they spot yet another terrifying presence. Below them, in the courtyard, they spotted the figure and heard the noises. They again see something staring at them. It then quickly ducks behind a wall, out of sight. They all rush down to investigate, but whatever was there has vanished. As they return to the courtyard, a loud crash is heard next to them. And even worse, Pino appears to black out. The captions after state Pino regained consciousness and recovered quickly. Clearly, something had affected him in the place. They never found what was spying on them, but it is safe to say it didn't want them there, and definitely succeeded in sending them hightailing it back to safety. Number 4. Dark Ghost is a Russian paranormal investigator, sharing his story on YouTube since May 2017. He has traveled to some of the most terrifying locations in Russia to document evidence of ghosts and other bizarre phenomena. By popular request, he returned to a home he had previously investigated and had gotten a lot of response from whatever was living there. According to legend, someone or multiple people are buried underneath. Immediately upon entering, there is still furniture in the house largely untouched, giving the impression the house was vacated rather quickly. The bed even remains done. It's not long after his arrival he receives his first sign he is not alone. Loud knocks from the living room behind him. He ventures to the kitchen to investigate, where he is greeted by a door swinging open on its own.
When he gathers the courage to return, he discovers evidence that a box under the bed was moved, as seen by the disturbance in the dust on the ground. Moments after this discovery, he is startled by the same noise under the second bed to his left. He briefly retreats outside to compose himself, and eventually returns to the living room. Once again, nothing happens for some time until he goes to retreat.
Behind him. However, whatever has been with him this entire time goes after him, and the door once again quickly opens, almost as if it has been kicked open. He kicks the door back to see if there's a response, and he gets one in the form of a door behind him rattling. Clearly terrified, he retreats outside. After some time, he explains he stayed away for about an hour before he returned inside. When he returns, he sets up a spirit box session, asking questions as a camera continuously takes almost immediately after, he hears what appears to be shuffling or possibly whispering from beneath the bed next to him. After asking if whatever is there can show itself, the wardrobe behind him opens on its own.
Вы можете показаться?
Without him noticing at first, after the spirit box replied, "Not enough strength," followed by, "To pass away." When he asks what it meant, it replies, "For you." Well, it seems to make sense the reply would be not enough strength, and responding to its manifesting, following up with, "To pass away and for you" seems ominous and terrifying. Could the spirit be referring to its desire to take their lives? When he asks what it means, it replies, "And you will see us." By now, Dark Ghost can't hide the fear on his face. Even from behind his face mask, his mannerisms are now that of anxiety. After several moments of silence, he asks if it is still there, only to receive an answer of ear-piercing electrical screams. Open. Thieves, life-takers, petty crooks, innocent as well as guilty. Thankfully for Sturgill, it appears on this occasion whatever was following him was nothing more than curious as to who was visiting the prison. Hopefully all future guests only experience the same entity and not something more vicious. Number 2. Alan Sullivan House is a relic from Cleveland's historical background. Built in 1887, it was the home of Richard N. Allen, the man who invented the paper car wheel, credited with improving passenger travel in the latter half of the 1800s. It was located in what was known as Millionaire Row, an area where the city's elite resided. This included John D. Rockefeller, the famous American entrepreneur and founder of Standard Oil. The home passed from various members of the city's upper class until 1923, when it was sold for alternate use. From there, it was passed from organization to organization until it was abandoned in the 1990s. Bad luck struck there early, when only 3 years after its completion, Allen passed away suddenly in the home, leaving his wife Susan as the owner for 8 years until she moved away. The home was then sold to Jeremiah Sullivan, who too would pass away in the home in 1923. Urbex Hill is an urban explorer, joining YouTube in September 2013. In January 2021, he decided to explore the Allen Sullivan House due to its history and frankly cool architecture style. The first thing of note when Hill enters the house is how bare it is. Aside from a couple of chairs in the front entrance and the typical paint chips and dust on the floor, the house is completely bare. This is likely due to either the previous occupants moving all their possessions out when it was abandoned, or due to the home's impending demolishing. One room on the second floor, however, is completely filled with furniture and other junk. So much so Hill cannot even enter. Most of the video runs normally without incident. However, near the end is when the strange occurrence begins.
figures the activity starts when he is in the basement. It also happens to be the most crowded part in the house. Aside from the aforementioned second floor room, the most compelling part of the video is when a chair, seen earlier facing to the right, suddenly bounces off what appears to be a wine rack to the left. Hill was not near the chair when it moved, and it is unlikely his steps disturbed it since he had walked closer to it earlier without any issues. When Hill shows the same clip but enhanced, it almost appears the chair is pushed against the rack and then lifted up before dropping again, not in the sense it has bounced off the rack, but as if it is actually picked up by hand. This is the last encounter Hill has during his visit, and he leaves the house soon after. What may be residing there is likely to be left unknown, with that house's impending deconstruction inching closer and closer. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because I upload 4 new scary videos every week. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. Number 1. Strange people can appear at any time in any place, and they manage to get in. The woman is passed out on the bathroom floor. Soon the fire department and paramedics arrive to assess the woman. The entire ordeal, while definitely bizarre, ends up being one the group and the first responders won't forget anytime soon. The woman was clearly not in the right state of mind and confused, needing medical attention. Thankfully, her face is not shown in the clips, as it is easy to imagine how embarrassing this would be to see when she recovered. On another note, for the trio in the house, it's lucky this home invader wasn't there to cause any harm to them. They were lucky to not have been visited by more vicious home invaders who were there to take things or possibly people, but I sincerely hope the woman received the care she needed and continues to have anonymity. This top 10 list has videos that are scary enough to make you drop your phone, so be careful.